Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. In this video, we are going to spend just a little bit of time doing a product review of something called the Gator Guard. I first became aware of this product more than a year ago when I was doing a series of videos on comic book protection, and I was scouring the internet looking for all types of things that could protect and or display comics. And I came across the Gator Guard, but for some reason or another, I never got around to actually doing the review. And thankfully, some things happened that allowed me to get in touch with the owners of Gator Guard, and I am now able to actually do a review of this product. And it's actually maybe good timing because these guys have, sought some patents for the Gator Guard. I think they've made some improvements to the product. And I think this thing has literally been in development for more than 2 years and it's only actually been on the market for about 3 months. So even if I had tried to move forward with them more than a year ago, it probably would not have gone anywhere. But I think that the timing is probably perfect right now for me to be able to check out this product. So this is actually the Gator Guard right here. It is a pretty sturdy product, to be honest with you, and it is basically a display case, if you will, for comics. And we're actually going to pull off this plastic here and try to get it set up in just a moment. But it comes in these two pieces that you see here. And then there's also a packet of screws that comes along with it. And I think they sent me a bunch of extras so that I could actually check these things out. There are black screws, red screws, and silver screws. And I believe that the screws are actually aluminum. And we'll cut them out of the pack here in just a moment. And the case itself is actually something called acrylite, which is a type of acrylic polymer, and that's nothing but a fancy word for some plastic, but it's actually some really good plastic, right? So let's not say that it's just plastic, right? This is actually some pretty interesting stuff. And in talking with the owners, what they've explained to me is that they took about 2 years, as I mentioned, to do some research and to try different types of materials to make the Gator Guard case, and they finally landed on this product called acrylite, which is a combination of some really great attributes, if you will. Like the case is really clear, it's strong, it's a clean design, and then this thing also has UV protection. And I think that's one of the big things that people have been asking about is when are we going to get something with some built-in UV protection? This product actually has it. It's actually 95% UV protective. And I will tell you that I don't think anyone would encourage you to put the comic in the sun, right? I think that you always want to take precautions to avoid any kind of detrimental impact to your collectibles. And so I highly recommend, things like UV protection on your windows, closing the blinds, blacking out the blinds or the windows, all that kind of stuff in order to protect the comic. But this thing is 95% protective, which I think is actually a really good thing. And so really cool product for being able to store, commissions, comics, sketches, all that kind of stuff in here. So really cool thing. So let's go ahead and pop this thing open. And it actually comes in like a vacuum sealed, static, clingy kind of film here that we will try to peel off. And I want to try to keep my hands off of the display area. We'll set that off to the side. And the case is actually pretty clear. It is pretty clear. Hopefully you guys will actually be able to see that. And have a little cloth here to actually help me, because what oftentimes happens with some of these things that have this, static, clingy kind of plastic stuff, there's sometimes some accidental residue that is left behind. So I have my cloth here, my microfiber, to be able to wipe it down. The edge of this thing is beveled, which I think is really cool. There's also a logo that is here that says Gator Guard. And that's really nice. That's a really nice touch. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it here on camera. I may have to take some photos and things like that for you to be able to see it, but there's a gator's head and then the words Gator Guard down at the bottom. So wipe this off just a little bit because there is a little bit of residue on there. I think it's pretty clean. So we'll go ahead and do this other piece here. And I'm assuming the part with the logo is the back side, but we'll try to sort that out here as we put this thing together for the first time. So it looks like there's another little logo down here on the bottom of this one. Down at the bottom, it's just the words Gator Guard. Pull that off and set that to the side. And we have some fibers or residue here on that one. I mean, this thing is really, really clear, and it is definitely a rigid piece of plastic, right? I mean, this is pretty sturdy. So let's see. My guess is that the comic goes in this part because there's a little bit of a lip around this side, on this side of it, and my guess is that the comic sets there. And then this sets on the back with the Gator Guard, with the actual gator there on the back side of this thing. So we'll set that off to the side and have a couple of other things here that I'll be using. A comic book specifically, and we'll drop this into the Gator Guard case here. I will tell you that this case, the way that they've designed this thing is that it's really set up for comics that are from the 80s to present day. So if you have, Silver Age comics, they probably will not fit into this case. But if you have something from the 80s or newer, you can use this one. I'll also mention that because of the recessed nature of this front case, the recess can only accommodate a standard size comic. So if you have like a double size issue or something like that, an oversized issue, an annual, it probably will not fit in this case. The company tells me, however, that they are evaluating a few things. They are looking at potentially coming out with a silver sized case that will accommodate older books, and then they're also looking at some options for thicker books like the annuals and the double size books as well. So there are some things that are in the works, and again, these guys took 2 years to develop this thing and to try to get it right. And my guess is that they're not going to rush this next one, but they have a lot of things sorted out, a lot of things figured out now that they know what kind of plastic they want to use and all that kind of stuff. So they should be able to move down the path a little faster. So what I did is I had this essentially face down. This is the front, right? And put that face down, set the book into the little recess there, and it fits quite nicely into that recess. I mean, there's a little bit of space on the left and the right, so I can shift the book a little bit left and right, and then let's see if I can shift it a little bit up and down. There's a little bit of space there, and there may be enough space there for someone to actually keep the comic in a poly bag if you wanted to go that route. There may be enough space around this thing on the sides, and then also the thickness to be able to accommodate a little bit of a poly bag. But I don't know if I'll try that in this video here. But the comic is in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the back case on there. And we'll see. It fits. It fits quite nicely. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So we're going to leave that there. And I have a screwdriver here, box cutter. And we're going to open up the screws that have been sent. Let's try to make sure that these don't get away from me here. So we'll set them over here on the cloth. Let's get a good look at this. This Gung Ho #1 from Ablaze Studios. Trying to see which color may complement this better. I may end up going with the red. Let's go with the red. My favorite color, as you can see by the by the plethora of things that are sitting here right now that are red. And as mentioned, I do believe that these screws are aluminum. And I'm trying to unthread this thing right now. There's basically 2 pieces to this thing. There's a front and a back, and the nut side, and then the screw head side. And I need to figure out, I may actually put the screw side facing front because I kind of like that mechanical look, if you will. So having that screw, I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but there's definitely a flat head screw head there. So we'll use this, and we'll put the screw head to the front because that mechanical look might be pretty cool. So let's undo all 4 of these screw sets here, and we'll have them ready. And we will get to the installation. And in talking with these guys, it appears that these cases come in 2 different ways. They come in a 2-pack, and they come in a 6-pack. And the 2-pack is, I believe, $36, and the 6-pack is $96. And that does include shipping. So I basically put the screw head through the front here, and I'm going to thread the nut on the back side. I'm going to use my fingers here to see if we can hand tighten just a little bit. See if we can get that to work. There we go. My big mitts. And what I'm going to do is hold the back side of that screw, that nut, and I'm going to use my little screwdriver here. I'm going to tighten this thing down just a little bit. And get it a little tight there to hold that comic in place. Right, there we go. Very nice. That was relatively straightforward. All right, so let's go kitty corner here. I'm gonna drop it down here in the bottom and do the same thing. Gonna hold the screw head in place, flip it over, and try to get the nut seated on the back side here. Try to hand tighten it a little bit. And then I will attempt to use my screwdriver to tighten it once again. So it's relatively straightforward. I mean, it's a simple, clean design, very elegant. No sharp edges. Everything is like a, polished and rounded and curved. And again, it's one of those things, man. If you spend a couple of bucks on something, you want a good product. You want to feel good about the money that is spent. You want the product to feel good in your hands. And so far, again, this case, I'm just getting it together, but it definitely feels sturdy. The individual components of it feel sturdy by themselves, and I can only imagine that will be there once it is all together nice and tight. So I'm on my 3rd screw here. That is now seated and in place. And I am working on the other and last corner. Squeeze that together. And we will, and it's what I'll show you here in a second. The screw heads essentially are recessed right down into the case itself, which is, again, just a really nice element there. There was definitely some care that was taken with the functional design of this piece. All right, so there we go. All 4 screws are in place. This thing's pretty nice. I mean, it's pretty sturdy. It's pretty sturdy. I read something where they were saying that they tried to make the case, be a nice fitting case. And it is definitely that. You cannot really, I mean, you can feel the seam between the front and back case, but it's actually, hey, I can get my finger in there. If I really, really try to wedge it down there, I guess I can get it in there. But again, it fits a little bit tighter than even your standard, third-party grading case. It fits a little bit more snug than that. This thing is nice. This thing is definitely nice. I think you might need one of those little stands that they put out there, or something to be able to lean it against, or something like that to display it. But this is a really nice case, and I think that as I think about this particular product, Gator Guard, I think it's a really good option for a couple of people. I think it's a good option for those people that want to display their comics but don't want to necessarily have them slabbed. Again, it's a really clean design, right? It's a good option, I think, if you want to be able to provide some additional physical protection for your comic, but besides just the bag and board. This is another good option. I would have to give thought to how I would go about displaying this on the wall. You might need another product, if you will, to be able to adhere it to the wall without doing some kind of adhesive or something like that on the case itself. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Not necessarily a bad thing, because again, the case is pretty sturdy, and what's great is that you actually can see the comic. You can actually appreciate the front and the back side of the comic, which is really nice. Especially if you're dealing with some of the modern variants or some of the wraparound covers. You want to be able to fully appreciate the artwork that is being displayed, and this is a good way to do it. So I want to take some quick measurements of this thing just to give you guys some idea of its overall size. It is a little over 7.5 inches wide, and it is about 11.5 inches in height. So definitely not a bad size. I mean, you can clearly see how big the comic is, and most of you guys know the measurements of a comic. So it's not that much larger than a regular comic. It's certainly not that thick either. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a measurement here. Now, again, not sure if you guys will be able to really see that, but it is not even half inch thick. It's not even a half inch thick, which is, again, really nice in terms of the design. I think that recessed alcove that they have in the front where the book sits is a really nice touch, which keeps the overall thickness of this thing down. I'm not quite sure how many screw sets they have in terms of colors. I'm not sure of all of the options, but we know that they have at least 3, right? There's at least red, black, and then the straight aluminum colored here. And these things are nice. They are definitely some lightweight screws here. Not a whole lot of weight to those at all. Again, really elegant design. But again, as I mentioned before, they come in a couple of different options. They come as a 2-pack, and they also come as a 6-pack. The 2-pack is $36. The 6-pack is $96, and that includes the shipping cost as well. So there you go. That is essentially my very short review of the Gator Guard case. I think it's a really nice option for people out there that don't necessarily want to go the third-party grading route, but want to be able to display their comics in some way, shape, or form. It's also really nice for those individuals that want to have some UV protection. And you know, it's a cool product, man. It's definitely a cool product. I would encourage you guys, if this is something that you're interested in, to head over to GatorGuardComics.com and check out all of the details. Hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, I want to encourage you to hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment behind so we can mix it up in the comment section. If you need to reach out to me, you can do that as well on Instagram at Regie Collects, and if you need to send me an email, you can certainly do that as well at Reggie@RegieCollects.com. And if you're feeling frisky, I want to encourage you to head over to the website, RegieCollects.com. Take care.